Thursday and they still hadn't filed yet. So
Check. Okay.
10
I think
miles an
that's
hour
loud
down the
enough.
road.
How's everybody doing? Good? Cool. Well, I'm glad we're all here for poetry. Let's do the stuff we normally do, where I thank the bar staff. Please tip your bar staff. They're amazing. Order all their beer. Next month's reading is going to be on the 1st, and it will be an all poetry open mic. There'll be no feature. Then the month after that, we'll have 2 features. We'll have Indiana's Beat Poet Laureate, Christine, and Evanville's favorite bard, Jonathan S. Baker. Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, and then this is a safe place for poetic expression. This isn't a place for bigotry of any kind. There will be no jeering or heckling. We are a supportive community. We're here because we believe in the power of the word. Let's help elevate not only our own words, but the words of all our fellow poets. We don't believe in censorship, but content warnings for especially sensitive material are appreciated. There's a sign-up sheet in this beautiful little purple notebook over here if you want to share 3 poems after our features. We're going to start with Meredith. Meredith is an experienced writer who is just beginning their journey into the professional literary world. Before stepping into this medium, much of their publicly shared work lived through visual art and graphic design. By day, they teach the next generation of creatives. At night, given the energy, Lord, don't we all need the energy? They create like a madman, just a bit slower than a madman. Art is their breath, rooting them in the earth while also lifting their vibrations. Meredith hopes to use their gifts to build an archive, one that heals, one that reflects, one that reminds people they are not alone. Their purpose is simple and sacred, to spread the word of worth and to remind others that light always finds a way through darkness, if you're willing to shift your lens. Everybody, Meredith.
It might fit in there. Yeah, it might fit in there. Oh, yeah.
Like a glove.
All right. Hello, everyone. I wrote a little intro just to kind of tell you a bit more about myself. A lot of you all here know me. Thank you for coming out. First, just want to thank A.S. Coomer and for Flywheel for making events like this possible. I first shared publicly first time ever in, I think it was November or October. And so that kind of opened this new world of speaking my pieces. I put my pen down a long time ago, and I picked it back up around this time last year, and I haven't been able to put it down since. I used to only write for myself, like late at night, to keep the dark at bay, a way to release when my mouth wouldn't move. Art has saved me countless amount of times. And recently I decided to dedicate my time and energy on being a full-time creative, giving to the world the art and love back, hoping that it'll start healing through me as it has inside of me, which has led me to my first experimental memoir. It'll be consisted of poems, journal entries, and illustrations. It'll be a 3-book series called When the Moon Meets the Sun. So the moon, it should be released this summer, hopefully in June. So it's to focus on the shadows, beginning of like discovery of life and self, along with like the tower moments that threaten to bound me. The second book is Total Eclipse, which will be about when I began to notice and awaken, stepping into self and like what in my life had caused that shift. And lastly, the third book, The Sun, will focus on the light that life has to give and how I've been able to find it and stay within it, even throughout the shadows. It's all the pieces that were inspired by the joy and love that life offers. Sometimes you just have to slow down to see it and listen. Most of what I'm reading today is coming from the moon, however, which will be, like I said, released this summer. Please brace yourselves because the shadows and the tower moments that have inspired these pieces can be fairly dark. If you find your past, present, or future self resonating, just know that you're not alone. The darkness can feel endless at times, but everything is temporary. These pieces were written in the light, yes, but it was recalling the emotions that the darkest of days required. So last time we were given the prompt, so this, I don't think I put this piece in the moon. But this piece was from the prompts last time. If you woke up in a new body, a new world, a new experience, what would that consist of? I think that's what it was. So this one is called a walk-in. Substance unknown, stretched across bone, the knowing of the mission fading as soon as my surroundings come into vision. Eyes glaring into my soul as if they know me, yelling out a word that is somehow assigned to this body. I must go, must act before I completely forget why I'm here. A soul's journey to be completed. All right. This next piece is called Doors. Doors. Chills run through my body, palm to metal, felt the gears shift under my tips. I almost made it. Was able to say that I had it all figured out, except the whisper casted my body, wavered, then frozen. Felt a grind against my ribs. That wasn't my door. It might have had my name on it at one point, placed there temporarily, but it was peeling, revealing another's carved underneath. Another ruse to keep me on a path, one that was laid generations ago. I planted seeds along the way, but it never felt like home. My feet have been bleeding, leaving a trail to follow back to the start, only if I can make it. Dig up the energy I lost along the way. Just as I was about to give up hope, I hear a click. When I turn, I see another door open. All right, the next one is called Pain and the Rebirth. I learned early how to push it away, be someone that didn't feel. I felt so much, too much for a kid. Hell, too much for a person in general. Sensitive. My red, splotched face in rooms of laughter, it made me physically sick. I learned how to hold it back a bit, but I really just became an expert at masking by self-medicating, which numbed everything. Dissociation became easier with each birthday, like it was my greatest party trick. My super strength, sleepwalking, buried under a shell. I have such a hard time recalling the past, but that's because I wasn't there. I masked it so well. Now that I'm peeling back the layers, unmasking, trying to fully bloom, it all rushes back. The darkness I've spent my whole life barely staying ahead of, engulfing me entirely. It used to only touch my ankles a bit, but I was able to get out. I could get out, ahead again. Now it's time to let it run through me, not try to get ahead. I have to embrace this in order to allow myself to be the feeler, the light worker that I was when I was a kid. The shadows have been dimming it for too long, for long enough. I can't run forever. This time it feels different. It's not like my depression, even though that's constantly changing. I still know it as well as it knows me. I think it's just what happens when you finally wake up again. To go back to the heart and soul that was originally given rather than run from it. I spent so long thinking something was wrong with me, not seeing it for the gift it truly is. Now that I'm tuning in, it's just a lot to process. Even though I tried my best to give the gift back, it always found a way to come to the surface. It is what pushed my creation, what allowed me to feel deeply. This just feels like the next level. I wasn't prepared with what returning to life would entail. I just have to figure out how to handle all of it, rather than the small amount I was confident in containing. Alright. This one is called Misplaced. Check a box. Check a box. Check a box. Within that box is another box. I look around and all I see are walls of flat, branded, and sorted. They say it's to unite, to identify, but all I see is the divide. Oxygen comes sparingly, less frequent with every grain that falls. What if I mark the wrong one? Seen as a label, unable to be torn. Stay within the lines, unable to falter. If I misstep my identity, at least the one I'm branded with will cast me out as a deceiver. Where does that land me? Transported back to the dirt, placed away from sight? It's not that I'm afraid of being an outcast, that shell's already formed. I just fear I may lose myself in trying to fit inside of these four walls. I stare back down at the paper, my hand ignoring all signals, hovering over each word, letters crossing, making it impossible to read. Sweat drips from my hand, rolls down the pen, mixes with the ink before it hits the paper marked. Next one is how many? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? How many times do I fall off the swing before I stop reaching for the stars? How many times do I have to smell the roses before I realize I'm allergic? How many times do I have to sacrifice drowning before I become waterproof? How many bullets does it take to shatter bulletproof glass? How many closed doors does it take before I start looking for the windows? How many times do I need to whisper I love you to my own reflection before I believe it? How many times do I have to say this is the last time before I finally choose to change? Okay, have a trigger warning here. These are gonna get darker. So that's kind of like the preface of the moon. So it kind of starts a little mindful, and then it kind of leads you into the darker days. So this one is terrified and full of joy. My body is starting to drag me back down to the bottom, moving slowly in the quicksand. My heart feels as if I'm its dinner. My throat and chest screaming, trying to get this lump up and out, the thought twirling through my hair or curling my lips. The weightlessness beckons me, tastes like sugar on my lips, honey dripping from my brain. I've never felt healthier, I say. Truth is, when I get this way, I haven't. I feel as though I can touch the stars, the joy of sending me upwards, closer to glory. I am terrified and full of joy. Okay, the next one is Call Me by My Name. Life is starting to taste like isolation again. Sharp, bitter, yet still somehow acidic. The darkness floats towards me, flowing through the cracked window. It's the only thing that knows me by name, really and truly knows it. It beckons me closer, asks me to lean in, peer over the edge, see what there is to offer. I take a step back, shaken by my own wavering, by the tremble. The temptation screams out. I glance around, making sure no one noticed. They never do. They don't see the rope cinched tight at my waist, tied to a weight that drags me a little more each day. I'm scared of how long I can keep standing. Every hour the rope cuts a bit deeper, almost reaching bone. I reach out for help, but instead of a hand, I am handed more weight. Okay, this one is in the dark. So the chapters in the first book kind of go through different versions of darkness, and so these last few are pulling from like the dark side of love and like heartbreak. So in the dark. Hands reaching through the smoke, outstretched, trying to find anchors, something, anything to keep me upright. I found you in the thick of it, when I was escaping from the shapes emotions could take. I was betting on drowning the feelings rather than face the pain, the confusion, the fear. It was safer that way. The tips of my fingers grazed yours in the darkness, and it was enough. Just enough. A flicker of light that helped illuminate the ground beneath. The words from your mouth, the way your body moved, showed me it did the same for you. That God brought us together exactly at the right time, and maybe He did. That moment felt as if it were centuries ago. We are not the same two people who used to roam, lost in the darkness. Now I wonder if our path is still lit, or if our shadows are blocking the light from walking side by side. I'm holding on so tight, my knuckles have gone pale, started to bleed, the obstacles spawning with each step, twists in a trail that neither of us seen on the map. If I could, I would give you my light so that you could see clearly, so you wouldn't fall. But I don't think that would be wise, because to give you what little I have left would cause me to lose my own. Okay. This one is called Don't Touch Me. As soon as the words escaped your mouth, the world turned on its axis, spinning so fast I was forced to the ground. Nothing would ever be the same. The twinkle in the sky that led me home was lost amidst the whirl. A part of me died that day. I went along, tried to pretend everything was the same, that I could still see the world through your eyes, but slowly I was dying on the inside. Teeth rotting, making it hard to speak. Skin filling from the burn, seeping through, making it hard to be touched. I had to stop forcing myself to endure the fire, the one consuming the last pieces of who I was. All right. Okay, the next one is called Singed. I give, you take. I give, you take, I give, you take, and now I have nothing left. Just a shell of dead dreams I poured and poured until the last drop of me ran dry, withered, like a sunflower scorched by the dead heat of summer. Now that you're gone, I am floating, suspended in the abyss. I lost everything I was. You took my name, my voice, my reflection. I am clawing my way back. But God, I am so damn tired. It feels good to lie here on the cold, dark floor, waiting for the day the moon stops meeting the sun. Alright, I have a few more. The next one is Credulous. You led me to the fire, watched me step too close, and still you let it burn. Not out of fear, not by mistake. You let it happen for your own enjoyment. I felt my skin char and flake, falling like petals, exposing the softest parts of me, the ones I swore I'd never let the world see. I turned to you, begging for help, praying I misread this moment, that I misunderstood how we got here. But then I see your smile, not the one that I knew, not the one you wore for me. And that's when I understood. This was intentional. Ash floods my eyes, smothering the last flickers of light. There are no embers left. I'm suffocating, mouth full of debris. I swallow my pride like it might save me. Maybe I'll rise again, phoenix from the wreckage. Or maybe what's left of me will be caught in the wind, light enough to feel the breeze one last time. Alright, the next one is wounds that won't heal. It feels like a death by 1,000 cuts. At first, the pain was manageable. I didn't realize I was dying until I passed out from the agony. I thought maybe, just maybe, the old wounds would dry faster than the new ones bled. But the makeshift bandages disintegrated, falling apart in my hands, revealing the rawness I tried to hide. I have a high pain tolerance, I used to say. What's one more? I made excuses, squinting hard to see the best in people, not noticing the blade hidden in their smile, the glint of metal, catching the light just as they beckoned me closer. Another cut, another drop. The pool forms around me, and I'm trying to keep my chin above it, gasping just to survive, but it's getting harder. Time is fleeting, my consciousness is fading, my eyes grow heavy, my breathing is labored, my heartbeat slowing. I know that I need to tend to these wounds, but I don't have the energy. And I fear my last moments will be spent still feeling the blade gliding across my skin, slicing into wounds that never got the chance to heal. Alright, I don't want to leave you all on a sad note, so I'm giving you a positive ending. This is not in the moon. You cannot find this in the moon, but I didn't want to leave you in the dark. Of course, I've written before. I wrote to keep the demons at bay, filling the pages with the words my mouth couldn't speak. Throat closed shut, locked in the dark, trying to hold back the night with a flimsy shield and worn hands. The ink served as stitches to seal the wounds, forever etched into the skin, hoping that if I made the pain beautiful enough, it would stop the bleeding. Staples cold against my lips urged people to turn away, nobody understanding, so it would live on the page. But never like this. Now I write because of you, a flame that guided me back before I even was following. Your essence filling my pen, steady and spilling. I can't seem to stop. I don't want to stop. You pulled me from the cycle, the never-ending loop of the walking dead. I wrote of shadows on my life before you showed me the shape of light. And this light I will protect with every moment I have left. Listening and for being here. I don't have a specific release date on the moon yet, but I will keep you posted. And live and walk in light and stay blessed. Thank you.
Everybody, that was Meredith. Next up, we got Bob Ernst. Formed by the wild ramblings of his childhood, Bob Ernst now cultivates a profound sense of communion with the land where he has lived and farmed for most of his adult life. His poetry often explores and celebrates simple, sometimes sacred moments revealed in the context of the deep ecological realities of life on Earth. He has published 2 volumes of poetry and photographs. They're right over here. He can talk to you about them, and you can buy one. Where am I? There we go. He's published 2 volumes of poetry and photographs and continues to record the upwellings that emerge from life on a small remnant of North American eastern deciduous forest. Everybody, Bob Ernst.
Thank you so much for your deep, deep sharing. I really appreciate that.
I definitely recommend it.
I'm a little daunted to follow you. My stuff doesn't touch quite as deeply. But it is what it is. I'm an old man in love with the land. This is what I got. I'm going to my book, because I didn't bring a whole lot else with me. I actually have started writing essays around the new moon and the full moon. I'm giving myself encounters on the land with a fire and a hike to allow me to more intimately encounter the land and then write out of that in response. In relation to my love of the land and also my recent diagnosis of Alzheimer's, which makes me realize I gotta say what I want to say before it gets too late, right? So, anyway, this book is kind of old, but I'm gonna read from it because it's what I have here. I got a couple of new ones I put together, but here we go. A touchstone. With love for Evie, Hank, Elle, Ava, Bo, and Willa. Those are grandkids. I have a strong, indelible intention to leave a place unmarked by my designs, a portion of my earthly claim, untouched and celebrated, and even in the midst of any human aspirations, simply left to grow into its native possibilities. Let it be a touchstone of the wholeness, deep communion with our indivisibility, offering a respite from the relentless disbelief. A solemn place, a furrowed bark of fresh and fragile blossoms, testimony to the aging truths of time and youthful resurrection. Walk there when your soul is weeping. Seek the solace of the sacred promise of life's mystery. Offer human prayer amongst the murmurings of all the living. Wear your skin as one with oak and early spring's hepatica, while reveling in recognition of our shared magnificence. This one is especially appropriate for this particular time. I hate snow. I hate winter. Anyway, this is titled A White Winter Storm. Snow drifting down fills the air with a whiteness that blankets the land in a deep, frozen peace. Softly suspended in slow, swirling breezes or dropping straight down, the flakes eagerly seeking the ease of a cold winter's sleep. I am drawn to the stillness, the slow, steady sifting, the thickening layer of icy white crystals, lulled by the warmth of a fire in the wood stove. I fall with the snowflakes in slumber, succumbing to whimsical notions of sparkling goodness, forgiving the life-numbing threat of a white winter storm. But time comes for leaving the fire to trudge through the snow, feeding hay to the cows. Turning my face from wind's biting breath, I feel the truth plainly, cold burning and numbing, and offer warm thoughts for the wild and anyone facing the storm with no hearth warmly beckoning. And before I return to my soft winter slumber, I bed the stalls thickly and bring in the dogs. Fox tracks. There are times I seem to lose sight of the purpose. Then I hearken back to fox tracks strung out in melting snow. I wasn't sure where she had been or where her prints eventually led, but it seemed she had no doubt about where she had to go. She was not wandering aimlessly. Her soul was not in jeopardy. I envied her capacity for single-minded progress. Her feet fell in a single line, back paths atop the front, down the path, along a log, across the footbridge, through the trees. Had I the will, I could have trailed her, found her final destiny. But there was little daylight left, and I had cows to feed, and wood to split, a poem to write, and dough to knead, and I made my way home crookedly. This is a recollection of my childhood. It's not one I'm real proud of. It's called Heartless Indiscretions. We might have heard it first, a slight disturbance in the leafy litter, or seen it feebly hopping across the well-worn path. And every time we'd grab it, hold it captive for a moment, as if to say, I've got this one. He's easy, no big deal. Not like the skittering lizards or the violent striking snakes, or even tree frogs leaping that would constantly escape. And so the toad became to me so common and predictable, so boringly routine that one dark day I raised an axe, and in a fit of insolence I chopped a toad in half, just to be doing it. I'll go to my grave with that sin on my soul, and I knew it at that very moment, horrified and burdened with a sudden heavy guilt. It seems Chaucer understood the darkness of familiarity, breeding, maybe leading a young boy to lose the beauty of a being's fine perfection, the expression of its meaning, its engagement in this life, to hold it in contempt enough to rob it of its purpose. That of filling springtime's air with trilling music and the promise that the beauty of the toad survives our heartless indiscretions. Fully native. I am not native to this place, but I have found my nativity standing here amidst the trees and flat on my back on leafy beds beneath the swaying canopy and bird songs, sylvan symphony. I have happened on my birth in gardens, flaunting earth's fecundity, burdened vines and swollen roots and long green rows of frilly leaves. I've come to be here in this place, in dim-lit throes of late-night calving, spindle-legged tottering, and warm milk flowing generously. And as I have been born of this place, so must I submit to dying, day by day my time retreating, soil creeping in my boots, collecting there, reminding me the brown loam crumbling beneath my feet. Then, fully native, I will be. Open in the silence, I find my place among the trees, standing in their rooted silence, reckoning the peaceful stillness of their bold exposure. The window of my soul is open to their stark and leafless forms, void of spring's new greenness or summer's solemn fullness, relieved of autumn's ornate color, stripped down to the essence of trunk and bark and branches, the bare substance of plain treeness. Winter's cold tranquility shrouds them in their nothingness. They stand open in the silence, bidding me to do the same. Distillation. In the light of the full wolf moon, winter's stark black trees define a frost-bound field ablaze. The icy fire, a reflection of reflection, the inferno's distillation, that we mere flesh-bound creatures in that scintillating moment might claim the vision of the gods and stare into the sun. Moving. A waning crescent hangs in winter's barren trees as moon retreats into her darkness, sinks into the smallness, finds her refuge in the craggy woods, the barred owl's haunt, and moving water. Follow, if you dare, and claim the stars embedded in your eyes, and feel the black dirt moving in your veins. Thank you.
That was Bob Ernst. Bob has 2 books over here that you should check out. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, talk to each other about art and books and stuff, and maybe buy an L8 or 2 from Grant, and give Grant some money. He likes money for a good tip. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Sign-up sheet for the open mic is over here if you want to share some poems.
We got a moon theme. It's a new one. I want to hear all about that. It was awesome.